exposure meter still on. If I touch that, it's going to make it. Yay, did it. Got to be careful not to expose yourself. No chance of that happening with me. Need a microscope. Alright, how you doing? Not supposed to laugh at your own. Well, anything, really. So much coffee. So good. Why don't people like being wrong? I was just thinking about it. Like today and yesterday, I've had two really rad conversations that I'm not going to be able to get across on camera because I'm just not very good at that. I'm not good at the words. Everyone gets so raggy, so angry when they're wrong. Shouldn't you be happy that you're wrong? If an idea you have is wrong, then there's still room to learn. If it's a belief, I can understand that getting a bit tight, a bit kind of ropey, a bit itchy. Beliefs are pretty heavy, but an idea should be flexible. You don't learn from a success. Generally, you use that as the foundation for the next thing, and then you make mistakes until you get a success, and then you learn from the mistakes until you get to that success, and then you've got the next platform to build your next thing on. I see so many people get so bent out of shape rather than opening their minds just a little bit. I'm not asking for like a complete change in your philosophy. So just opening your mind and going, hey, how about this? What do you think? And then someone else across the table goes, mate, that's fucking gay. And it's like, oh, why? And then the other bloke across the table, or the lassie across the table goes, no, mate, that's where we used to come from. We came from a time where all different people from all different groups would kind of come together at like a trading hub. People that generally speaking wouldn't get on at all. And you'd be sat down breaking bread going, you'd just be talking shite. And someone would go, no, that's not how we do that here. Well, what do you do then? Oh, we do this. That's pretty clever. And then we take little pieces. People don't really like that either these days, that we could travel the world, find something that works, and then kind of take a piece of it and adapt it to make it better. We're almost acting like that's theft. That's not how ideas work. Right? An idea isn't necessarily property, although I suppose you've got intellectual property rights, but let's not worry about that kind of stuff. I just don't get it. People get so angry. So angry. It's almost like if you question someone, or they could even be remotely wrong, they start acting like you're calling them an idiot. Get really aggro. I was talking to a friend yesterday, come round and he goes, you know what, man? He said, a whole bunch of people I know wouldn't even speak to a guy like you. And he said, no, I imagine, he said, because there are times when I don't feel comfortable around guys like you. And I said, I don't know why not. He said, well, it's kind of that kind of, you gravitate towards your own. And I said, but that's one of the best ways to learn, is to get out there and meet all of these other people with all of their different experiences. Because again, the way that you do something might not be the way that someone else does something. Think of all the things that you're now learning, that your mind is just blown, thinking, wait, I've been doing this wrong my entire life. There's a whole group of people that knew that this wasn't the way that you do it. You did it that way. Why didn't I know? It's like, because you never left your little box. And remember to be respectful when you come out of your box, right? Things that you knew once upon a time might not necessarily hold true outside or in the future, right? Think about all the things that we used to know and all of the things that were impossible that eventually either got disproved or became possible. The discovery of a new element, the discovery of a new way of measuring something or seeing something, or a whole new world opens up. That's why I'm not particularly against learning things from my children. if my kids go to me, hey, yo, Dad, you're wrong. I know once upon a time I used to be like, dude, no, that's not on. No, that's not true. That can't be a thing. And then I'd look it up. I'd have a look and I'd go, oh, right. Sorry, you guys were right. And so I've made sure to tell my kids, like, you know, just because I'm older than you, doesn't mean I know more than you. I say that to my kids about pretty much everything, you know, just because I'm older than you doesn't mean that I'm stronger than you, that I'm smarter than you, that, you know, that I'm better than you. I'm just older than you. And so I try to make sure that I pull information from all different places. And other people should too. Just be open-minded. Challenge yourself. Let other people challenge you. And don't get aggro when someone's trying to tell you, nah, mate, that's not the case. Or, forbid it, you have no idea what you're talking about. You never know. It's another reason why I don't get overly ratty with comments on YouTube. To be fair, most of the time, you know, people are pretty cool. Other times, they're really, they're really not. But then I think to myself, hang on a minute. If someone, you know, leaves me a beefing great comment, and I'm like, did I not explain myself particularly clearly? I realise that at times that little bit of knowledge is kind of dangerous. You know, that hump of getting to proficiency. You forget that the things that have kind of become second nature to you as you're coming over this hump, other people don't necessarily know. So you think, well, how could you not? How is that not a logical leap for you? If they don't know, they have to go from A to C. If they don't know what B is, that's really awkward to them. Like when I had the rant about the whole VPN. If people don't know, and all they're doing is regurgitating other stuff off of YouTube, they don't know. It might be obvious to someone like me, but you know, it depends where they learnt their stuff from. So like, for example, an artist or whatever, I have no idea outside of a box of crayons, you know, what art is. I mean, I don't know if a box of crayons, well, can you art with crayons? I imagine you can. They're not just for eating, right? Like, I don't know all the different methods for layering things and that and that. Plus I'm shade blind, and if people were to make assumptions like I knew what was going on, that would be really weird to me. And so I might get, you know, sometimes I could imagine, I won't, but I could get a bit defensive. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand. What is the thing? Rather than getting aggro with it, and I could, like I said, I can imagine it being a thing to get aggro with it. Just going like, well, yeah, I get that, I get this, and I get that, but how do they become a thing? How does that work? Because again, to the person who knows, they'll think, well, surely they'll figure out that you do this and this and this, and that makes this. It's not always that obvious. So sometimes you have to actually take a step back. You have to go all the way to the beginning and go, is it that they didn't understand me because I've forgotten what it's like to be at the beginning? And at this point, I'm not trying to insult people by saying you know less or you are less. It's just that kind of groove, you know. I have no idea about quantum physics. No clue. So you come on, man. You got to dumb it down. You got to dumb it down. And if someone then goes, well, actually, oh, you mean this? Ramp the conversation back up. Bring it back up to that level. Don't. You don't have to sit there. Sometimes it's best to dumb things down to start with. And I grossly oversimplify pretty much everything because I want everyone to understand at least at a basic level what I'm talking about. Just where sometimes things are lost in translation. If someone then goes to me like, hey, well, that's this and this is that, I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So you've got a grasp of this. Let's bump up a notch. Let's keep going. This is a thing. Don't worry about being made to feel daft. Don't worry about making people feel daft. You know, just don't get aggro. You know, be challenged. Learn new things. Again, things will change as well. The things that you are certain of today may be different tomorrow. The things that our great grandparents knew, and their parents, and their parents. It hasn't taken long, and we've made massive leaps trying to explain to my children that there was a time where the internet had to come through a phone line, and now there's Wi-Fi, and that's a kind of a different way of looking into just regular radio. Someone's going to go, oh my God, don't say that. Look, trying to say to them, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. And then trying to explain that that's a form of radiation and all that kind of stuff. Like, it almost blows people's minds that there were times before this stuff existed. It's like, yeah, and then there'll be something that'll come out later. There's always something to learn. And so if you're wrong, if there's ever a time when you're wrong, when you stumble, next thing to learn. There's always more out there, and there are always more perspectives. Take little pieces. That piece of the puzzle, the thing that you don't understand, you may not have found that piece yet. The bit that you've got the rest of the puzzle, and then you've got this one piece left, and you keep trying to put it in, but it's not fitting. And it's going to take maybe talking to a few people to realise you have to, if you turn it sideways, oh hey, that fits now, but you had to have that piece of information from that other source, from that other person who delivered it in another way to help it fit, to make you understand, to help you understand. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. Oh dear. This could be, oh dear, this could be bad. This is the end. Oh, wow. Okay. That was terrifying. I keep a backup of all my footage, but that was terrifying. I think I've seen that like once before. If that ever comes up and you're using Final Cut 10, press and hold Option and Command when you open Final Cut. So before you open it, press and hold the buttons, click it to open it, and then it'll say, do you want to delete your preferences? Delete your preferences, open it back up again, open the library you were trying to open, you should be good. Wow. You've learned something today. I almost had a seizure. Glad that didn't just corrupt my library. I've had a few things go south recently. Back up. That's another video. But yeah, don't get aggro. People will challenge you every day. And if you're not open to being challenged, that's something you might need to work on. There's always going to be something. There's always something you don't know. I try to explain that to my kids as well, that lads, I've got two sons and they are both better at different things. It's like, you can't know everything. One of you is better at drawing and writing and that kind of thing. Another of you really good at coding and that kind of stuff. Like, you can't know everything, so it doesn't hurt to learn from other people, ask for help from other people. Why it's always cool to be part of a team. Because it's the teamwork that gets you through. The power of friendship helps you defeat the boss and you win, and the whole new thing comes out, and if it weren't for all those different people coming together, we wouldn't have all the cool stuff we have now. Don't get defensive just because. And if someone gets raggy with you, it's not necessary to get defensive with them either. Just go with it. Just open a conversation, open a dialogue. Because it's the best way you're going to understand someone. Don't start shouting at anyone. Don't start calling people names. Just talk to one another. If you don't understand their stand and where they stand, ask them. Just ask them. So me and my mate were saying, like, hey, yo, there are guys that wouldn't hang out with him. There are some of his guys that wouldn't hang out with me. And that's their loss. It's their loss. You got to be open to all new things, and the world has got too much stuff for you to be able to taste it all, but you're missing out if you don't try. Anyway, hope you're well. I'm going to disappear before something else goes wrong and I pull out what's left of my hair, and I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one. Did that make any sense? Probably not. That's fine. I got distracted playing a mana game, so...